Hey guys, how y'all doing? So I got myself a 1988 BC Rich ST3 Gunslinger, and I got a good friend Glenn, and he knows all about the BC Rich stuff. So I got Glenn down here today, so let's take a look at this, okay? Here we go. Guys, it's Glenn. Hey, there he is. Hey Glenn.
What's happening?
Well, I got myself a BC Rich from 1988.
Yes, you do.
And you are the BC Rich guy. You know a lot about them. And I just wanted to sort of go through the guitar a little bit, show everybody what I got here, and get a little bit of your input, or a lot of your input, on what this thing is, and some history from BC Rich.
Okay. Basically, what you've got here is an ST3. Now, a lot of guys think they'll call it a gunslinger. A gunslinger has one pickup that's slanted. The ST3 and the Assassin model,
okay,
have two single coils. You got series parallel switches, a coil tap for the humbucker, a volume and a tone, and a Floyd.
Okay, so hold on just a second. I'm going to take you back. So the BC Rich Gunslinger from started in 87.
Dan
okay.
designed it in 87.
Dan Lawrence.
Yes.
Dan Lawrence designed the BC Rich Gunslinger in 87, and it didn't have three pickups. It had one pickup slanted.
They were originally a neck through. Of course, they did do some bolt-on models later, but the original Gunslinger was a neck through, and with one pickup, a Floyd, and one knob.
Okay, super cool.
And this pickup would be slanted.
Okay, I got you. Now the Assassin.
The Assassin was just like this here.
Same body style.
Snakeskin paint jobs
okay.
and such. And the ST3, you had these switches that gave you some good capabilities, as opposed to the Gunslinger with the one knob. And a lot of guys liked it. And a lot of guys liked this, you know, the single coils.
And they call this the ST3 because it's
a Strat style, I guess.
With three pickups.
Yeah.
ST3.
Very good.
Okay.
Amazing.
I'm learning something every day, man.
These guitars.
That's the point of my videos, so I can learn something about these things.
These American-made ST3s,
right?
They weren't as sought after so much as the Gunslinger, but as of late, any BC Rich from the 80s is starting to go up in value. Of course, BC Rich is, you know, just getting it back together now. These are made in USA guitars. This is not an import. These guitars were really, really cool. Of course, the late 80s was the Super Strat thing, and the Kramer Night Swan and all of that, and that's what the ST3 was after. I think it was 85 when they first came out with the ST3. So this being an 88 would be 3 years into it. I love the yellow. It's canary yellow, rosewood board.
Original paint?
Original paint. Does have one little chip down here, but that's nothing. The finish looks in good shape. It is a bolt-on. Another thing you notice, you've got plastic covers. With the Gunslingers, a lot of them, metal covers.
Okay.
But this is a good BC Rich. This is not the import stuff that's hanging around. Now, it looks to me like the tuners.
Tuners have been changed out.
Yes, they have.
It's got Jackson tuners on it for some reason. What tuners came originally on these?
I believe it had Grovers, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of the BC Riches had Grovers at that point. And Shaylas, I've seen Shaylas on them. I had an 83 bitch that, geez, it didn't have, you know, Grover Imperials on it. It had Grovers on it. I asked Neil Moser, and he said, yeah, sometimes we'd run out of Imperials, and we'd put whatever tuners we had on them.
I gotcha.
And that's the way it went out. But here's the deal. Nowadays, you can go out and buy a BC Rich import and pay more money than what you can pick one of these up for. And this is a better guitar. And if you listen to it, that's a good resonant little guitar. For bolt-on.
Licensed by Floyd Rose.
And she comes back in tune. And that was all the way to the deck, just about. There it is decked out.
Right.
she's back to zero.
What pickups?
Floyd.
What pickups did they usually use back in the day?
These were single coils that they wound, and DiMarzio, they were big on DiMarzios back then.
Okay.
And a super distortion, which if you look, you'll see that you have hex heads on both of those. So I would bet you if we flip that over,
the pole pieces.
Yeah, instead of pole
They're
pieces,
hex heads.
you got hex head on both. And what that is a dual distortion. However, here's some nostalgia for you. A dual distortion, yet you have coil tapping. So it's a 4-wire. And that was the same pickup, a super distortion with 4 wires would be called a dual sound.
Oh,
but it was the same pickup.
That's what they called.
Because it had 4 wires and the capabilities to split,
Dual
a super
sound.
distortion was a 2-wire. 4-wire super distortion would be a dual sound. So this one is actually a dual sound, usually about 13K on these, 13.7K. So it's a smoking humbug.
Pretty hot. Pretty hot.
Yeah. This guitar was not set up to play Mary Had a Little Lamb.
That's for sure. I wouldn't know how to play that one.
These were the heavy metal guitars that were out there. Everybody used them.
What's the fretboard wood?
This would be rosewood. That's Indian rosewood. It's a nice Indian rosewood.
Indian
it's beautiful.
rosewood.
That's a beautiful rosewood. It's really dark. Kind of looks almost like Brazilian, but it's not. I had an ST3 that Brad Gillis from Night Ranger had.
Oh yeah, great player.
And it was like these stripes, colored stripes on it. Great guitar. I ended up selling it because I actually bought the Looney Tunes Gunslinger, which I sold later because somebody offered me a lot of money for it. But these are great little guitars. BC Rich, at the time it was winding down, and Bernie ended up selling it in 90 and 93 to Randy at Class Axe, and Randy had a wood shop. He didn't have a wood shop, but he put parts together, and that was the Class Axe guitars.
And so in the late 80s, they also made a lot of bodies for Kramer and other. Didn't BC Rich make bodies for other companies?
I didn't see them making bodies for Kramer.
Okay.
I've heard that before. I never saw it.
Okay.
But a lot of guys helped each other out back then, so you never know
what
what
about
happened.
Charvel? They make Charvel bodies?
They did not make Charvel bodies.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, Wayne, by the way, is down here in Buckeye now.
Wayne Charvel?
Yeah.
He lives in town?
His house burnt down over there in Paradise.
Yeah,
lost
that's
his shop
too
and
bad.
everything,
So there it is, a BC Rich, made in America.
Good guitar.
From the 80s.
If you want a decent BC Rich without spending $5-6 grand, that's the puppy. And I love the yellow. I did my Bumblebee series in Corvette yellow, which is very similar to the Canary yellow.
Are they going to increase in value in the next 5-10 years?
I'll tell you what,
This guitar,
I've seen,
an ST3.
as of late, when BC Rich isn't producing the custom shop, well, they are now, and I can't really get into that, but they're being produced here in Arizona is all I can say. And they're going to be making some, what did Bill Xavier put it? Some stellar announcement they're going to be making, so we'll let him make it.
Oh, Bill is the new CEO of BC Rich.
And pretty good guy. I got on his neck for renaming one of their guitars. That They named it the Rich Bee, and we all know it's a bitch.
Right.
And I own a bitch, so I got mad at him.
gotta
Then he
keep it.
explained it, Google rating, because it's the guitar's name a bitch. You type it on Google,
You
and
should
they
leave it.
penalized the rating because but it's spelled B-I-C-H, so. And anyway, I told Bill, okay, now that you explained it, I'm back on board, right? BC Rich at its best here, guys. These late 80s Super Strats were killer.
The only way this could be better is if it was the one pickup gunslinger with just the...
If this was a one pickup neck-through gunslinger, I'd be all over you and buying it right now.
Oh, man.
Or
Scary
John
thought.
Mancuda would be at the door fighting to get at it.
Scary thought right there. John
Yeah,
Mancuda
the
coming in.
neck-through gunslingers from the 80s, oh God, 87, 88.
How many of them were produced back in those
I
days?
don't know, but I don't think there was a lot of them.
10,000 would you guess,
Oh,
or
God,
less?
no. I
Not
don't
even
think-
close.
No. You got to remember, it was not a big rolling production line.
No
that was
CNC
pumping
machine
out
cutting this
guitars.
body out, huh?
Huh?
In 88, there was no CNC
No,
machine
these-
cutting this out.
The original BC Riches, they had some Mexican guys, Juan Hernandez stuff, that used to carve the bodies and necks with knives.
Right.
There's actually a video, I shared it on my Facebook page,
Handmade guitar right here.
where the guy's doing a neck with a hammer and a chisel.
Right,
Whew, you got more skill than I got, you know?
right.
Those guys, some of those fellas down there in Mexico that were doing the bodies and stuff for the BC Rich South stuff, God, those guys were great woodworkers. But BC Rich, you know, they had BC Rich North, BC Rich South. That's why you got the shorthorn mockingbird and the longhorn mockingbird. That's why you can tell which body was made in the United States, which body was made in Mexico. Tijuana, BC Rich South.
So Bernie Rico started building guitars in the 70s.
Yeah, and he was Bernardo's.
And then he
guitar
sold
shop.
the whole company in 1990 or 91.
I think it was 91,
Somewhere
90,
early 90s.
early 90s. By 93, Class X had it and was pumping out guitars. It was, you know, they were putting parts together and doing it. And then Bernie, late 90s, Bernie bought the company back off of Randy and started working. Then, of course, Bernie had a heart attack and died. Bernie Jr. took over, and that's another story to get to some other time. But Hanson Music Group ended up with it.
Hanson Music Group.
Hanser.
Hanson Music Group.
And Hanson just now sold it to, I'm not going to say.
New ownership just in the last year or two.
New ownership, and they got some good ideas. They're doing import guitars out of World Guitars in Korea, the Shredzilla and stuff, which are great guitars. I played a few that were good. A few that the finish I didn't care, but there's always going to be that problem. And Bill tries to check everything, and they're on their way up. And of course, the custom shop guitars are going to be done, and Neil Moses back on board with them, guys.
So look for some good BC Rich stuff in the future.
BC Rich is coming, and they are coming. The Shredzillas are already out there. Quick playing guitar. If you like that shredding, smoking guitar, that's it. And that's what these were. This thing has a low action, flat radius, not flat, but it's like 18 to 20 inch, most of these.
But guys are still calling these ST3s gunslingers because it's the same body shape.
You know what? You can have an ugly girl and call her a cheerleader. It doesn't mean what it is. It's an ST3. It's not that it's a bad guitar, but the gunslinger is more desirable. Most of the guys calling it a gunslinger, and it is. It's a gunslinger with 3 pickups, right?
The body carve is basically the same as a gunslinger.
Body shape's pretty much the same as a gunslinger.
Okay.
You know, but it's a different configuration in the pickups. They're really nice. I like the gunslinger with the reverse headstock and the neck through. Those are really cool. I don't like the one knob on a gunslinger, but if you're looking for a wide open SOB, gunslinger is my favorite BC Rich. Besides,
just turn it up. Yep.
I love gunslingers. I think Dan Lawrence really pumped something out. I had one that Neil Moser did, number 83, and that was a cool guitar. I ended up trading it for a very expensive guitar to Jerry. And of course, Jerry's probably still got it because it's worth a mint now. But these are great guitars. The ST3s, you'll see them all over the late 80s videos on MTV back then. These were desirable, and they still are now. And they're going to find one in this shape that hasn't been abused. It's great ST3.
Awesome. Glenn, thank you for hanging out down here today.
Yeah.
And have a great day, buddy. Thanks for coming in. So I got a really fun one, guys, and it's got a cool story about it because I bought this guitar from Philip McKnight, and the story is that the Tone King, you guys all watched all the same YouTubers, right? Well, the Tone King was on Reverb and saw this guitar on Reverb. It was up in Canada, and he called up his buddy McKnight and said, hey man, there's a BC Rich Gunslinger, you got to get this thing. And I bought it from Phil then a few months later. Yeah, so I got a really fun guitar. This is the Bridge Position Humbucker. So I got myself a fun guitar. And wow, what a great color. So anyhow, BC Rich, man, I'm a fan of these things. I have to admit it, I am a fan. So anyhow, you guys have a great day. Thanks a lot for watching. Go out and get yourself a BC Rich if you get a chance, especially the USA made ones. If you can find one, you know, I know that it would be better if, a lot of people would be like, oh, if it was a real gunslinger, you would just have one single pickup. But this is the ST3, and really nice, ST3. Making a lot of noise.